Good morning, everyone. Michael the Maven, and today I'm going to give you your 2018 holiday buyer's guide for a new camera owner. I've had a couple friends come to me in the past few weeks saying, Michael, my daughter wants to do vlogging. What camera should I buy? I'm going to give you the same advice I give to my close friends. We're going to talk about the strategy, the specific camera to get, where to get it. We're going to talk about important accessories and some of the hurdles you should be aware of. Right off the bat, sensor size is important. Cell phones and smartphones, they have very, very small sensors. Those are going to be very limited in terms of low light performance, color rendition. The depth of field is going to be deeper, and you do not have lens options. You're kind of stuck with what it gives. And so the recommendation I start off with is let's go with a much larger sensor. I like to talk about APS-C sized sensors, and those are the cameras I'll be recommending. Second part of this is you have no idea how serious your loved one is going to take this new hobby. You can spend $3,000 for a kit or $500 or $600 for a kit, and they may set it on the shelf either way. So what I tell my friends is to start off around entry level in that $600 price range. And if they love it, they can upgrade. They can always sell the camera, or even within the first couple weeks, return it. We'll talk about that in just a second. Give them some room to grow. And another very important consideration is get a camera that is easy to learn. The easier to learn, the better. The more frustrating the camera to learn, the more likely they are going to give it up. So taking all those things into consideration, as well as my knowledge of the tech, the camera that I recommend is the Canon T6i. It's a Rebel. It's been out for a couple years, but that is like the Goldilocks sweet spot of all these things I'm talking about. It's just right. Now there's another camera called the Canon T5i. It's a little bit older, not quite as good quality in my opinion, but it's sufficient to pretty much get started and learn photography. But I like that T6i or the T5i. So there's another camera out there that is very similar sounding. It is the Canon T6. You're going to see it at Costco in these huge stacks of pallets. It's going to be like $450 with 2 kit lenses. I tell my friends, stay away from the T6. And the main reason is that what you're getting with the T6i is a front-facing monitor that is touch sensitive. So if you're doing any kind of video work, any kind of vlogging, or if your loved one is, this is going to be critical because it's very easy to see the framing. You can change the exposure settings as you're getting set up. You don't have to walk around to the camera each time. That's a critical piece of information. Canon also has really good exposure preview, so you can check the brightness, and that's why it's one of my favorites in terms of that particular kind of shooting. Now, there are some other cameras that have better sensors, like Nikon's D3500. I recommend that camera for strict landscape shooters. So if you have a loved one that just wants to get into landscape photography, that's a pretty good place to start. Very affordable. You can upgrade it, with different lenses, and at some point, you'd obviously sell the camera. The problem with the Nikon is it doesn't have an articulating touch monitor. In some of the exposure preview with aperture control, there's some conflict there. You kind of have to choose one or the other, either exposure preview or aperture, and it's a little bit more frustrating to use that. So that's why I steer people towards the T6i. It's more enjoyable and it gives you room to grow. So something you should know is that online, you can purchase camera bodies by themselves with no lens. And if you're giving this as a gift, you really should include a lens. And so something like the 18 to 55, it's a kit lens. Sometimes they're sold in a bundle. That's what I recommend the purchase is to buy the kit together. You're also going to want to buy a memory card. Minimum, you're going to want something like a class 10 if you're doing HD video recording. Invest a little bit of money into a good memory card, get the camera body, the lens, and they are going to be thrilled with that, I really believe. So there are a number of accessories and things you can buy in addition to the camera and the lens that will greatly enhance the capacity of the shooter as well as their overall experience. And the first thing, the number one thing that you should buy after the camera is a good training video. This is what I do professionally. You don't have to buy it from me, even though I have them for almost every camera out there. But buy a good training video that will help them get through the learning curve of understanding photography, composition, learning the operation of the camera. It's very complex. and you will greatly increase the chances that they will succeed in learning and using the camera as a tool. The next accessory you should buy is a good tripod with a locking ball head. The ball head allows you to move the camera in different directions and lock it down. This is something that would be used for low light photography, video shooting. Bogan Manfrotto makes a model called the Be Free. It's a compact, light travel tripod. That's a really good start. Stay away from those flimsy aluminum tripods with the side tilty head. They're complete junk. It's a complete waste of money. Get a good tripod. If they're doing any kind of video blogging or vlogging, they are definitely going to need a good onboard microphone. Rode makes a number of DSLR video microphones that you put on top of the camera, and the audio quality is going to be greatly enhanced. That is a must-buy for videographers. At some point, you're going to want to upgrade your lenses. I really like Canon's 50mm 1.8. It's going to allow for low light shooting, portraits, phenomenal lens. There's a knockoff version called a Yungono, less than $50, pretty incredible. Probably gonna want some telephoto lenses. There's the 70-300 kit lens, and there's also a 10-18mm wide angle lens if they need to get a wider field of view. At some point, if they do well with the camera, they're probably going to be interested in a flash. Canon has some flagship flashes that are just outstanding, but there's another company called Godox that makes these like kind of knockoff versions of it. For $120, $130, you can get a wireless transmitter for that flash for about $50 and $60 in that range. That's actually a pretty good value for what you can do with it. So taking into consideration all these, the camera and all the accessories, you can easily spend $1,000 to get somebody set up. That kind of kit would be a great start. If you want to spend more money, you could look at something like this Canon 6D Mark II. It's a full frame version of the Rebel. If you have $2,000 to spend, you'd be looking at something like the Fuji X-T3 with a kit lens. Amazing. I love it. Incredibly performing. $2,000 and up, you're looking at something like the Sony a7 III with a 28-70 lens. If you want to get the nice lenses, we're looking at over $2,000 for each of those. And then we have finally the Nikon D850, with the 3 lenses, the 24-70 2.8, the 70-200 2.8. In a wide angle, you're easily looking at close to $10,000 with those accessories. And by the way, every piece of gear that I'm talking about, you're going to be able to find on eBay. Save a couple $100 if you want. I personally like to buy new gear as gifts, but for my own use, I buy used gear all the time and I don't have a problem with it. So if you're on a really, really tight budget, go to eBay, shop around. You can find much of what I'm talking about at a cost savings. I personally buy almost all my gear from B&H Photo because they have a return policy. If I don't like it or if there's a problem with it, it's very fast and easy to return within 30 days. That's my preference. Obviously, there are tons of options out there when you are purchasing. Again, all these links are in the description as well as on my blog. So in any event, that is your 2018 holiday buyer's guide for first-time camera owners. If you found this video helpful, I would love your subscription. Check out my training videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.